Kanye got in so much trouble, Kyrie got in trouble. Kanye's gotten into some scrapes before. Normally when he's in trouble, I pull up immediately. But this time I was like, you know what? Let me see what's gonna happen first. Let's see. He went on Drink Champs again. This time, he was on one. He said, I can say anti-Semitic things, and Adidas can't drop me. Now what? Adidas dropped that immediately. This is where, I draw the line. I know the Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on Black America. You just can't. You know what I mean? Thanks to the one person that said that. I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome to One Buck,
where we keep it a buck,
and we hope y'all keep it a buck too.
I'm Kev. This is Coop, man. One Buck Podcast, man. Back to smack you in the mouth for yet another one, man. Like I said, we keep 2 episodes, maybe 3 episodes, depending on how we feeling. Yeah. Cause we be feeling good, man. We be giving these episodes and that energy we be giving these people, man, for real. Shit. How you feel, cuz?
Man, I'm good, man. How about you, man?
Man, I'm good. Blessed as always, man. Always blessed to lock in with you. Doing it on a different day, different occasion, but hey, still same business, you know what I mean? So look, y'all make sure y'all go check out all the previous episodes, man. Appreciate all the love and support, man, of the new game followers, man. We appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback.
Also, we on the way to 100. We almost there. Thank you to everybody who's been showing the support.
Man, 100 subscribers.
Man, if y'all can just help us get up to 100, man, we might drop something special for y'all.
Yeah, y'all gonna get something special. Not to mention, man, if you do like shorts, man, we will continue to do some shorts as well. Got some different shorts coming for you. That's going to keep y'all locked in, man. Keep y'all locked into the show because y'all know how we do. We like to keep it a buck because we like to expand that mind a little bit and stir that pot, you know,
Talk about a little different issues that's going on right now, you know what I'm saying, and giving our feedback and also words of wisdom off of it.
Yeah, words of wisdom, and then also because, we just want to remember, for the disclaimer out here, man, that we do this show. We do it for educational purposes. Absolutely. We do not condone or we're not, involved in anything that we may be talking about or we discuss in the show. So we want to throw that disclaimer in there, man. But y'all keep it a buck because I'm not going to take too much of the time. You know how we like to do, man. Go ahead and cut them into it. Let's see what it do today.
And I know everybody is seeing what is going on. It seems like certain people have been activated off of Kanye.
Activated, ain't they?
I'm going in with the situation with Kyrie making his statement.
Done deal.
It's a lot of scrutiny that he's been under fire with. Also, this is kind of a 2-part with it. It's like the response off of Chuck, Shaq. I kind of got some issues with, man. What you feel off of the topic, man? What's your opinion?
Man, to be honest with you, man, I really, I just have my sense of judgment. I'm going to go off. I'm going to listen to what you got to say and let you run it down. You know what I'm saying? Let the people crack off into it. Let them hear your side, your vision. You know what I mean? Then you know how we do. Throw it to me, man, and let me see what it work with.
So apparently, from the situation of Kanye speaking out about the Jewish communities, and how they handle their business, he has cleaned it up quite a bit. He hasn't really been apologetic on what it is that he's been saying. He's also been blackballed with some other things. But now you got Kyrie speaking out on his comment about the situations. So, y'all take a look at what's going on or hear and see what you think.
And it's a title given to Christ, Philippians 2:11. And my name translates in the Hebrew language as Yahweh. So I went on the Amazon Prime. I was like, let me see if there are any documentaries on Yahweh. So went in the search bar, typed in Yahweh. That came up. Went out and shared it on my platform. That was my night. In terms of the backlash or what people call it, we're in 2022. History is not supposed to be hidden from anybody. And I'm not a divisive person when it comes to religion. I embrace all walks of life. You see it on all my platforms. I talk to all races, all cultures, all religions. And my response would be, it's not about educating yourself on what Semitism is and what anti-Semitism is. It's really about learning the root words of where these come from and understanding that this is an African heritage. My post was a post from Alex Jones that he did in the early 90s or late 90s about secret societies in America of occults, and it's true. So I wasn't identifying with anything of being a campaignist for Alex Jones or anything. I was just there to post. I mean, you can see the way I live my life now. I'm not here to be divisive, so they could push their agenda. I don't want to say they, because I'm not identifying any one group or race of people, but I'm in a unique position to have a level of influence on my community. And what I post does not mean that I support everything that's being said or everything that's being done, or I'm campaigning for anything.
Also, here's what Chuck's response was being said in his words as well, and what he felt. Y'all check out the audio clip off of that as well.
You have to be aware of what you're doing. And you have to be aware that sometimes when you put stuff out, not everybody's gonna like it. Some people are conscious, some people are not. I can tell he's not conscious, he doesn't really care what's going on. But us, I know that you know, the game that we used to love and we promote, it brings people together. And it hurts me sometimes when we have to sit up here to talk about stuff that divides the game. Now we got to answer for what this idiot has done. You know, I stand for equality of all people. I've always been like that. Don't matter what religion, don't matter where you're from. I could say shalom, salam alaikum, ni hao, say bon, because that's how I was raised. So I don't really want to sit up here and answer questions for what he's done. You know, if you're looking at me, it's my job to make people happy. I can't speak for him and, you know, answer for you know, what he's doing. It's obviously by his answers and the way he answers, he doesn't really care.
Chuck.
I think the NBA dropped the ball.
In what way?
I think he should have been suspended. I think Adam should have suspended him. First of all, Adam's Jewish. You can't take my $40 million and insult my religion. If you're gonna insult me, you have the right, but I have the right to say, no, you're not gonna take my $40 million and insult my religion. I think the NBA, they made a mistake. We have suspended people and fined people who have made homophobic slurs, and that was the right thing to do. I think if you insult the black community, you should be suspended or fined heavily, depending. I saw they did the same thing to the kid in Minnesota this year when he made the gay slur. I think you should get suspended or fined. I think him acknowledging the Alex Jones thing should have happened with that too, because that dude's crazy. And I can't believe that we ain't talking about that. We're talking about this idiot. And when you say, if I say, hey, I'm agreeing with this movie, this book or whatever, I'm agreeing with it. I'm not gonna first of all, you know I don't do any social media, but when you're somebody as great as basketball like him, people gonna listen to you what you say. And there's some fringe people out there, but like I say, I blame the NBA. He should have been suspended.
And their conversations are continuing with the Brooklyn Nets,
it's too
with
late
the NBA,
now.
But they're also looking at, they're looking at how do we move forward at this so we don't go through this again. No, it's not too late to say how do we prevent this. It's not too late to do that. But I see what you're saying.
Hold on, I want to say that the reason it's too late, the NBA is giving in to peer pressure. If one of our players do something, they have the right, the team or the league has to do something immediately. If you just give in to peer pressure, that's the problem I have. This should have been handled already.
Kenny, let's get into this. Go ahead.
Well, firstly, if we're going to take what he says on a Twitter, we have to take everything he says. So if I'm going to take everything he says, I'm going to believe that he doesn't support or any of the views or promote the views of it. He said it right in my face. I have to accept that. So I will believe that. There are people in this world who's done, in their art, have done great things, that have said crazy things, that we still listen to their music, we buy their paintings, we do their things, and you might take an excerpt of that and say, I believe in this. Okay, so I'll take that as it may from Kyrie Irving. But I also believe that the reporter did have a right to ask the question.
Oh, sure.
That's it. So, and that's really where the argument became. You don't have a right to ask me that question. I do believe that, and based on this for Kyrie is that he has put himself as He says, I'm the voice for some of the speechless when during the COVID. So now he has transcended from basketball and became an activist politically. So you will ask him that question based on some things that you may read. But I have to believe him also when he tells me, that is, if I'm going to believe parts of it, I have to believe the totality.
You know what?
Yeah, bro, it was a lot of backlash off of it. Not to mention, I know Chuck said something. Some people from TNT got involved. Not to mention, Kyrie Irving did get the suspension from the NBA regarding this too from commissioner. So, I mean, you see this and you look at it, man, this is big business because it's exactly like you saying, bro. It's exactly what you were starting off the whole hookup with Kanye in the last episode and some other stuff before that, man. You people got to understand that, man, people are put in certain positions, for the reason that they are, you feel what I'm saying? And a lot of these times, people don't see what they actually need to see because they're blind, like you said. Because how do you normally say it? It's more to the message, right?
You get past the mess.
You
gotta get past the mess to read the message.
Man, so
as long as they holding on to that halfness.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Finn.
Yeah, no, that's all I really had to say about it, man. Because you look at the times that we living in, it seems like anything you say now can be used against you. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the way it is.
I mean, let's be honest real quick. You know what I'm saying? If we talking about some fairness off of that, what was Chuck and Shaq talking about? The shut up, just dribble.
Yeah.
On the LeBron situation.
Yeah, I remember that.
Where was all that? You know what I'm saying? And I noticed this about us as people.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I'm saying, not just as black people, but people of America. Like, we're so divided. There's no unity in anything. And it's always going to be that until things change, until people get past the anger or whatever they feel, you know what I'm saying, about this race, or, you know what I'm saying, whoever. It's always going to be this conflict of interest when it comes to it. I'm kind of disappointed what they had to say because even though this is a brethren of their sport.
Yeah.
I get what they saying, but at the same time, there's a level of disrespect, you know what I'm saying, to it at the end of the day. You hoping that this man gets suspended, but yet he's on a plateau to voice his opinion. So you telling him to shut up and dribble.
And this how I'm looking at it with Barkley and that whole crew, man. Barkley knew what he was doing after the whole hookup anyway, because he said it on TV that he should have got suspended. So, like you just said, using this platform, this national platform that they have, Chuck used that as ammunition to say you got suspended. Now you get a couple days later, commissioner turns around and suspends him just because of what Charles said off the show, bro. So
old Chuck wouldn't have played that mess back in the day. He was putting out commercials for Nike and being sponsored by Nike, still keeping his endorsements when he swung on a fan.
Yeah, well, people want to see the style Chuck that they see now, the one that's talking and stirring the pot up a little bit, and
shut up,
the drama
shut
going.
up and talk. You know what I'm saying? Talk and
like
that's coonery,
said,
man. That's coonery to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
it is. You know what you is, Barkley, man. Like I said, man. I mean, it's right there, plain as day. I mean, that's the best way to put it. The best word that you could use.
And man,
for it.
it's so crazy is because Damon Wayans, I've seen a stand up off of like back in the day, like where he had did a comic hookup, and he was talking about how when it'd be funny when certain black folks get to talking, and you know what I'm saying, like you go back to that slave, how that slave mentality, the house Negro, you know what I'm saying? No sir, man, you know what I'm saying? That old, we in a whole totally different thing of era when it comes to it. We need to change our minds.
Yeah.
Look, it's this, that, and the third.
Big time.
If we gonna sit here and punish, in other words, if we gonna sit here and punish one particular race for every action that they do, then why isn't everybody else? Man. And I know, you know, we're not supposed to be looking at the level of field of it being what's fair and what's not. Yeah. But it's the principles of that, because you have some people, especially these kids nowadays, who don't get that concept. So what are we teaching? What are we saying it's okay to?
Right.
We're accepting all this stuff, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, but it is what it is, man. And that's
all of it. A long list of laundry with it, man. The drama, you know what I'm saying? Man. If people knew the half, man, as I said, man, this is what this show is about. We heard somebody say that You know, well, we just like every other podcast, basically, we cover famous people drama, and that's not the case, man. We cover a wide variety of topics, and we do it for this very reason, man, because we want y'all to indulge in the other things that you may not see. You know what I'm saying? That me and him would just be sitting chopping it about and bring it to y'all attention. And then, you know, we kicking game with y'all.
This ain't nothing but our views of point of interest, but at the same time, like we trying to keep it a buck with you, like on how it's supposed to be. We're not sugarcoating jack squat when it comes to it at the end of the day. So, you know what I mean? Like if you feel like that, sir, hats off to we appreciate your comment, but obviously you ain't been, you know, seeing that whole episode. Because if you did, then you would have heard the message in between time and you know, the meantime.
And like I was just telling, you know, cuz off air, man, and I tell this to anybody, I got other channels. If it's not for you, we get it. It's not for you. But if it is for you, then hit that subscribe button. But if it's not for you, simply keep it moving. You know, or maybe you need to try some other videos that we have listed. You know what I mean? Maybe that'll kind of gain you ground of where picking up on what we putting down on this show. Because it's not just famous people drama, but it'll never be that. It's more well thought out than that, you feel me?
Absolutely.
Because, man, I like that one, man, shaking up the world, shaking up the nation, talking about that, bro, that's real deal. Definitely need to be heard and locked in on that one. Because I got one for you, and, you know, we've been talking about this, man, the dress in Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? The whole dress up in Hollywood.
Dress in Hollywood.
Yes, sir. So, you know, I had to bring in, like I said, disclaimer bells. Y'all will hear them. You know what I'm saying? Disclaimer bells to that one. I do not condone. I'm not supporting anything that I'm talking about. But when I'm looking at this, man, you see more and more where brothers are stepping out talking about how Hollywood has came to them with this whole dress theory, bro. So we going to bring up this whole dress theory. Now, I do this. I want y'all to listen to this clip real quick.
I think that's part of the challenge of navigating this kind of subterfuge in the industry, is that people themselves may not be aware of what really turns them on.
One thing I heard, you know, you were approached to wear a dress on Cool Runnings.
Yeah, there's a scene in the movie where I wear a maid's hat. They wanted me to wear actually a maid's uniform. So the hat was a compromise. Yeah. And
we didn't see that on camera. We never got to see it, so I'm guessing you said no.
Of course, yeah. I said no. I said no. No way.
Was it the Jamaican in you? Was it the black man in you? Like, you know, because some people do say yes to the dress. So like, what were you standing on?
I think I was standing on the history. You know, I think there's a history there that is pretty well documented, and the rationale was absurd. You see,
it didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense, and I think just generally speaking, if something doesn't make sense, you need to push back and at least say, okay, well, look, I'm not going to say no, but you explain to me more how this works, and then people will expose themselves. And I just think there was a craven desire to get me in that position, as opposed to there was an actual comic reason or whatever. Yeah. That's more important to me. Like, that's the whole thing with How to Be a Player. It's more important to me that you explain to me how it would work and how it will work for me than rejecting it on the basis of what it is. Like, explain to me. And sometimes the explanations, you know, you like, oh, they're going to fuck it up. Even their intentions sound good, but they're going to fuck it up. People will expose to you, you know, their competence or whatever it is.
Yeah, there was you know, the conspiracy around the dress. Maybe you might be more well-educated, well-versed, but a lot of stand-up comedians have put on that dress.
Yes.
You mentioned Flip Wilson.
Yes.
It's just very interesting. Even Robin Harris had a dress on.
I didn't know that.
And that threw me off.
I didn't notice.
He did. Yeah, he had a character. I can try to pull up maybe after and show you. In recent years, Kevin Hart did an interview, and he was like, "No, you know, I would turn down the dress."
Right.
And then you look up on SNL,
right, and
he's in the dress.
You know, and there's some cases it's completely egregious and upsetting. Like, God bless him, but when a random black actor on Saturday Night Live wears a dress, but they playing a woman. It's like, why can't y'all hire a black woman to parody a black woman? So you got a black dude playing Whoopi Goldberg or playing. It's layers on layers of wrong, in my view.
Let's because I really want to get to the bottom of this. What's the gag? Is this like some people in our comments have said this is the bucking, breaking of the buck.
Right.
Kind of like breaking you in.
Emasculation, yeah.
If you say yes to this dress, then...
Right. I don't think that these things are conscious. I think that's part of the challenge of navigating this kind of subterfuge in the industry, is that people themselves may not be aware of what really turns them on, right? This is an industry full of secret appetites. So when you're dealing with somebody who's just like, just do it. I mean, it's like being in a room with a 10-year-old. But you think that because the person is an executive or this or that they're not a 10-year-old. And so how would you treat a 10-year-old that's telling you to do that? So that's how I look at it. Because looking for it to make sense is where a lot of people go left. It's like...
it's a big wormhole.
It's a wormhole. It's a rabbit hole. Yeah. Just like most things related to that industry, and to our relationship vis-a-vis white America. It's very complicated.
That's a great way of looking at it, because, you try to connect these dots. And my more so viewpoint was that it did relate to maybe, breaking us down a bit. If you say yes to this, then, and maybe it was like a weird kink.
I do think that there's some grooming involved. I do think there's some grooming involved. There's grooming in the industry as a whole. People will always introduce things to you as a litmus test to see how far you'll go. That's the name of the game. So yeah, that's definitely going on. I just don't know if the primary goal is to break you down. I think that any person that's not under control in an industry so tightly controlled like that one is a problem. They got to do something. And that's the nature of industries. It's like, you look too free. Let's do something to you,
Do you think your career would have changed at all if you did the dress scene? Would it have been more about how you felt about yourself, or?
I mean, I think there's so many things that would have changed if I would have made different decisions. But I'm glad, that I didn't, because I think it would have changed. It might have changed in some ways that were financially beneficial, but I think I wouldn't have survived it from a spiritual point of view. No way.
You would have had that out there right now.
Right. I'd be loathing myself. Yeah. And also, rearing and raising kids. And how would you
have explained it to your children? And
that to me that's what I'm learning now. I'm learning now that, I have an adult daughter. I have, a son and this or that. I'm seeing, woof. And that's part of the reason why I'm so at peace. Because I know I jumped over a hurdle when it comes to that stuff. I might have been not the funniest. I might not have been the best looking, but I'm about as free as a nigga could be.
There's that conversation about Hollywood picking one black comedian at a time and kind of like push them through. Do you feel that happened in your career? And in conclusion, why didn't we see, and I think you answered this earlier, but why didn't we see Dougie Doug star in Rush Hour and all these big movies? Why didn't things go to another level for you in your hindsight now?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in personal power and personal responsibility. It didn't go there because I didn't want it to.
Is it more so like you feel free because you were able to kind of leave with your hands clean? There's a number of reasons. I feel free because I was able to leave with my hands clean, but I was also able to leave with some money.
like that helps, okay, look,
You cashed out.
I can't, yeah, exactly.
And sometimes if you gamble.
I didn't sit at the table like, let it roll, I didn't do that, And then maybe I'm just overly cautious, and that may be
I think you play it well, man, because it's, they be talking about a black man either dead or in jail. Hollywood, it seems like with us, you either lose, you dead, lose it all.
It's true.
You don't hear, hey.
But it's for reasons that, and I was talking to my mother about this, who doesn't even really completely understand what the fuck I'm talking about, like the average person. But it has a lot to do with the more you succeed in a certain way, the more you become estranged from things that are equally as valuable as money. And it's hard to survive like that. you know, and then your options in terms of people who you want to walk with you on this earth, they get real iffy. Because you see some of these cats, God bless them, that marry some of these people who are clearly not for them. For all these, you know, because it's almost like proximity, like, you know, she here and they there, she look good or whatever. It's like, it's nothing like being, you know, a motherfucker that's just like relatively successful, moderately successful, maybe in ways people don't even understand. So you can navigate without being, you know, on the hit list. But once you're on the hit list, it's like people look at you as like, steak and eggs, you know, like, and that's not, it's not as fantastic as it looks like, you know. So you almost want to like succeed gradually, particularly if you're young. That instamatic sudden wealth syndrome shit, and just everything's coming at you, and
firmly
everybody thinks you're the most adorable motherfucker that ever existed.
For that season.
Yeah, for that 5 weeks. I mean, it's a fantastic 5 weeks, but Jesus Christ, it cannot be sustained and shouldn't be sustained. You know, it's like too much of a good thing will kill you. Like, enough, you know? How many orgies does a nigga need? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny when you see some of these cats with the orgies and shit, they be licking their lips and wearing tight shirts and walking around like, my dick is big, you know? And you know, you just kind of like, who got to you? You used to be normal, but they get people massaging the ego.
That's crazy.
They just
massaging,
massaging, you know, just, and that's not healthy.
Not normal.
It's not normal. I mean, to the point where you're impervious to a real comment that may not be flattering. You know, you fall, you wither when somebody tell you the truth about one, you know, man, nigga, that shirt too tight. What you mean, nigga? How much did you know how much the shirt cost me? More than your whole outfit. You know, people start getting defensive about shit that's just like,
it's not that deep. Patrice O'Neal had a reference to it. Being in the belly of the beast.
Yes.
Good to be in that belly.
He would know, because he had eyes wide open. That brother had eyes wide open. And sometimes when you're that unflinching in terms of reality, you know, it could really take you out. I remember talking to Ozzie Davis about another legendary comedian, Godfrey Cambridge. You might not know him, but you may. And I was asking him, like, what happened to Godfrey Cambridge? He said, the anger. The anger got him. You know, that's the way we as black men used to understand the dangers. You know, whatever you do, watch out for the anger, or watch out for the this, or watch out for the that. Because that's much more important than who has a private jet. That's much more important than whose woman is more fly than who. It's like you have to survive the success. So you don't just say no to counsel because you're at the top of the mountain. Like, that's when you really need real motherfuckers to come and counsel you. You know, people think the counsel is just to get up. The counsel is to stay up, and the counsel is to get out. You got people working at Goldman Sachs that the minute they get an offer, they got an exit strategy. The same thing is true for show business. How you gonna get out?
And no one thinks about that.
They don't think about it.
At least
very few people think about it, because getting out is such a horrible, as far as the public is concerned, getting out is such a horrible thing. Or you're washed up, you're because you have to face public scorn. Fuck public scorn. You know, when you're secure, you don't care about public
people
scorn.
ever like criticize you or try to label you that? Like,
no, nobody ever did that.
Yeah.
I think because of the nature of what I did, I think still resonates. And I think people feel good about it. And I think that's what the average person, especially successive generations, if you're lucky to have a project that resonates over years and years and years, it's almost like you get fresh love. You know, you get to reboot your love, you know. And so I'm just been luxuriating in rebooted love for decades. And I'm grateful for it. I'm not taking it for granted. You know, I think it's a beautiful thing if it can happen to you. because each individual career has its own narrative and its own reasons for being and its own petering off into the sunset. Some people it's a boulevard of broken dreams, and other people it's I'm gonna get the fuck out of here before they kill me. You know, it's that kind of spectrum of the stories, plural. That's what's really going on.
And you're saying people in the industry saying I need to just.
It's not just that they're discarded, right, or that they're overlooked, or that they're, you know, their time is up. It's also some people took a parachute and jumped and said, I'm out. And then people very rarely have an interest in those stories, why someone might go away, you know.
Yeah.
When people come up to me and they're like, oh, you know, when am I going to see you acting in something? I always say, well, aren't we all tired of acting? You know, we should all be tired of acting, you know. So if you got to be fake to make a living, that's, you know.
It seems that you left. Are you implying that you kind of just left?
Oh, no question. Yeah, no question. Yeah.
You know, hearing that, a lot of people are going to be like, why the heck would you leave those opportunities on the table?
Right.
Was there something that specifically happened that made you be like, you know what, this is enough for me?
Well, I mean, having a certain level of financial security, it diminishes your sense of inspiration and enthusiasm to continue to go through bullshit. And sometimes you're just like, no more bullshit. And if you say no more bullshit too much, then people are like, well, fuck you, we'll leave you alone, you know. And sometimes that's sad for some people, and for some people it's not. You know, they're done.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? And I don't know if you get this, but I think about Dave Chappelle.
Yes.
You guys ever crossed paths? And has
Yes.
anyone ever kind of
we
compared
dated
you?
the same girl once.
Wow.
That's my little
connection.
little anecdote.
Do you get like any like comparisons in terms of like energy or kind of
definitely.
kind of rhythm?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I bring him up because you made me think about when he stepped away from his Comedy Central deal.
Yes,
when it's 50 million. Could you relate to that at that time?
Of course, yeah. I mean, people made such a big deal out of it, but that happens all the time and has happened historically many, many different times. Like if you look at Flip Wilson, right, who had a bigger show than Dave's, a top 5 show on NBC in the 70s. He went to fly hot air balloons and said, fuck it. He owned his show, unlike Dave. Show was produced by Clero Productions. Look it up. Clero was his real name. Flip was his stage name. He owned that show. He made enough money and he said, I'm gonna fly air balloons. So it's happened many, 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 many times, and it just happened to him at his time.
I mean, what is happening in the industry for people like to want to like break away from it? Because from the outside looking in, you know, it seems like it's a dope experience. It
is a dope
money
experience.
And travel and recognition.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great experience, you know. I think but it also can be a very horrific experience, depending on how grounded you are on many different levels. Spiritually, sometimes people are not, they don't have the kind of solid support system. So they have, and that's fine. But sometimes what's worse is if you have an imagined support system. You know what I mean? So you think you're getting support and you're getting your pockets picked, right? Or you think you're getting love, but people are just there to ride the train, you know? So I think some of that is a real shock because the best acting happens behind the camera.
With Dave, the $50 million to kind of harp on that for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, that could change his life at that moment. That could change anyone's life.
Yeah, especially if it's marketed. You know, look at basketball players. Somebody markets that you got $50,000. You are a target. That's just no way to get around that shit.
Yeah.
So that changes your life externally. Even if you don't change, everything around you changes. And
were you did you see it kind of all play out when it happened? When it was announced or marketed that he was getting 50 million, then he walked away?
I saw the fallout of his choice, right? And so, yeah, and I think that, I mean, I talk to people all the time. There's a long list of people who were labeled insane and for different reasons, because they didn't make decisions that people thought they should make or they could make sense of. So I saw when it happened to him, but I saw when it happened to Lauryn Hill. I saw when it happened to so many people. And it's very frustrating as a person who is a sucker for Black artists and who loves them with all my heart and sees the bullshit that they are go through, see all of the mischief that's made about the things they say and the things they do. Especially given the fact, 2 examples there, Lauren and Dave, people who started the industry as teenagers, right? So it's not like they were full-grown people in the midst of the height of their success, like the civil rights performers of the 60s and 70s, right? Poitier and Belafonte, and these are grown motherfuckers, you know? So if somebody's essentially a child star, that they don't have the moorings and underpinnings that a grown-ass adult has. So they need a certain particular kind of support. I mean, motherfuckers is damn near put Gary Coleman in the fucking grave because he wanted to get a job as a security guard because the nigga needed to eat. The level of cruelty that goes on, and it's always, notice black, you know, there's always you're driving them crazy. When I was doing Cool Runnings, I wanted to yell, Jamaican me crazy, you know, because a lot of bullshit. You're trying to advocate for making what your work resonate in the proper way. Because it's one thing about having a writer who is non-black telling you to drink out of a bidet or wear a dress or whatever. That's one thing. Another thing is to willingly misrepresent yourself, right? That's a crisis, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, that is it can be quite painful.
But why do you think Dave ultimately walked away from that potential deal?
I don't know. I don't know why he walked away. I know what he said, and I believe what he said. I believe that it was just unbearable. The nature of what
fucking industry is a monster.
Unwittingly agreed to, right? So when you wake up and realize what you really agreed to, that can be a motherfucker, you know. And so I believe him that he was like, oh shit, look at what I said yes to. I didn't realize what I said yes to. And sometimes that's just the name of the game. You're just eyes wide shut, you know, when you really should be eyes wide open, you know. Because you see with your mind, you don't see with your eyes. So one has to have a certain level of training, sophistication to be able to really see and understand what it is that people are suggesting that you do. You know, so if you come to the table with a certain level of sophistication, you can decode and interpret, I know what you're saying you want me to do, but I'm seeing what it is you really want me to do. So anybody can be blindsided like that, particularly if you're very young and you're not, you know, you experienced a certain level of success and you think, you know, you don't realize there's levels to this, right? And once you get to another level, you're dealing with a whole nother level of snakes and flakes and earthquakes, you know.
Now, you mentioned Lauren and Dave being teens when they got into this industry. Mm-hmm. That's your similar story as well.
Yes, that's why I can see very clearly.
But did you have your eyes wide open when you first came in, or were you just going through the experiences that maybe helped you wake up a little bit?
I had very traumatic, painful experiences that helped me wake up that I thought was so unfair and so wrong and so brutal and filled with so much betrayal, not realizing that was my education, you know? So those were the things that I was like, oh, wow, you know, later on I realized, I had to experience that, you know, because it gave me insight into things that I would otherwise not had. Like when people are very surreptitious and sneaky and cool and they don't hurt you doesn't mean that they're not planning. So I just happen to be around a lot of amateur snakes, you know. You know what I'm saying? They let me know where they were coming from and shit. Or they tried to play me cheap, you know, like they did their dirt before the big money came. You know what I'm saying?
And then they canceled themselves out.
They canceled themselves out. Nah.
In that short clip, man, if you don't know who that is, man, then you don't know. AKA Mr. Cool Runnings, man. Dougie Doug, bro, comes out of the woodworks. Now, this dude has been away from Hollywood ever since they did the movie Cool Runnings. Man. According to him, in this interview, Dougie Doug.
Disney, by the way.
Yes, that was his first and only movie.
That was, I think he had some other movies that he was in.
Through that company, I'm saying, right.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah. I'm saying like that one time with the late great, what was his name? Played Uncle Buck.
The original.
Yeah, he passed away. I can't think. John Candy.
John Candy.
John Candy. My bad. I had to slow moment, y'all, for a moment. But The late great John Candy in that movie. It was a Disney film, but bro, go ahead, finish. Go ahead, kicking what you kick.
Yeah, man. Like I said, Doug is in that interview. If y'all haven't heard it, man, and just talking about the overall dress, man. Just had to bring it up because it is a major topic. Now, if you listen to what you heard in that video, man, it's just safe to say that it's not, some truth to this because we got a lot of different brothers, man, that's been in the industry now. Ever since I can remember with Dave Chappelle, you know what I'm saying? How they had Mike Tyson in the rumper, you know what I mean? Way back in the day. And bro, the list goes on and on. So you see a lot of this stuff on these young men and these men in general, and they're pushing that agenda for us to wear dresses. Robin Williams was another one, man. So
it's crazy.
It's crazy, bro. But just listening to that interview, bro, what's your thoughts on that? Because, bro, we ain't really seen this dude in movies since Cool Runnings.
Salute to you for standing up and saying, nah, I ain't going for the extras off of that. You feel me? Like, make this make sense. You know what I'm saying? You turn down the deals, you know what I'm saying, that you could have. I've seen other movies that you was in. But yeah, man, Dougie Doug was one of them dudes. Like, he was in the road to stardom, like Class Act, if you don't remember him in Class Act. He was a kid's, play sidekick, like hype man.
Sucker boy.
You know what I'm saying? Right. He was the hype man off of his, because he thought he was Blade. You know what I'm saying? Or not Blade. Yeah, or was it Kid? My bad. I had it reversed. I said it right. My bad, y'all. But Kid, it's been a minute since I've seen those classics. But man, inspiring dude of actors, like, to come. We don't know what we could have had seen him play. He was talented. Man, the list goes on. But for you to sit here and stand up and believe in what it is that you feel, not a lot of people did that, and we see why if you go back and pay attention in your time of situations. Man,
Dougie Doug, definitely a game changer. It's not only him. You had the guy that came out that played in the movie with Martin and Big Mama. You know what I mean? Dog came out. I can't remember his name. I'll make sure. I'll leave his name in there at the bottom. Chappelle. Like the list goes on. Eddie Murphy,
Martin
it goes on. Martin.
Eddie, you know what I'm saying, playing different characters. Yes, that's talent.
Yep.
At the same time, for what? Why didn't you just get a female to play the part?
Yeah.
Why did you have to make a brother try to play a female?
Yeah, I don't get it, bro. You know what I mean? But it's definitely something up to it. That's why I said we gonna hit y'all with that disclaimer bill because we are open to, our thoughts and opinions. Doesn't mean that our thoughts and opinions is what we stand on. Like I said, this show is for entertainment purposes only, man. Y'all make sure y'all leave y'all comments below what y'all thoughts is. Because when I first seen this, though, it made me think, because you only seen Dog in a few movies. You haven't even, how you see somebody, like my man on Michael Jackson when they did The American Dream.
Right.
The dude that I can't think of his name. We'll leave his name somewhere down in there too for you guys. But when he did Michael Jackson, you watch actors grow.
Yeah.
This was a young man that had a stardom growing, you know what I mean? That was in a couple movies before Cool Runnings. That Cool Runnings ended up being a hit with John Candy in that one too as the coach, bobsled coach. And to see him in that role and everything else.
Movie,
it was a good family movie.
That's a go-to. But that's a classic, but
it's a go-to, but just to see Dougie Doug now step up to the pinnacle with some of these other guys. Cat Williams talked about this. It goes on and on and on. Diddy's under some scrutiny about some stuff around this too, you know what I mean? So you got to look at it, and this is the reason why he left Hollywood. So, bring that up on the show. I said, everybody said we cover, we cover whatever we feel like at the end of the day, and that's what we're going to do, and nobody's going to stop us from doing that. You feel what I'm saying?
We done seen, man, it's a list, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into it, though. But it do your history, like, to all you older heads.
Yeah.
When I say the older heads, I mean, like, that with utmost respect.
No. You know what I'm saying?
I'm an older head now. You know what I'm saying?
If you know, you know.
The OGs, exactly. If you know, you know. Like, but if you came up in the era that we did, or you over our ages, I don't like to disclose that with people because, what I'm saying, it ain't none of your business.
Ain't none.
But at the same time, like, to kind of give you a rough hookup, it's like back when Wesley Snipes did Tu Wong Fu. You did all that, you know what I'm saying? And then they try to paint the picture like you crazy. You got some issues going on because you wasn't getting this and the third. And then it took for you to disappear for so long, and then somebody had to bring you back in because they felt you. You was one of the best actors.
Yeah.
Up there, almost up there with Denzel at one point in time. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it was definitely locked in, man. You know what I mean? Definitely locked in, and like I said, man, you just be surprised, man, how people start. You look at Dave Chappelle's, fall from Hollywood and his restart. You know what I'm saying? He said exactly why he moved away and did what he did, but what did he end up doing?
Fucking industry is a
come
monster.
Back to the game, man. He had to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know why Prince, the famous rock star that was a friend of mine, do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the fuck could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out, and it wasn't good money, and it wasn't good circumstances, but what else am I going to do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table, and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of three-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it? And the bag of money was Iceberg's money in the first place. What was I talking about? What was I trying to tell you? Last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I call Lauren Michaels and I tell him, okay, I'll do it. I'll do Saturday Night Live on election night. And the day I made that phone call, the day I committed to it, it gets announced that Netflix is streaming Chappelle's show. Not just Netflix, HBO Max is streaming it too. I'll tell you another story about HBO. No, hear me out. Did you know, before Chappelle's show was at Comedy Central, I pitched that show to HBO. I told them what I wanted to do. Now, these are executives. All they have to do is say, yeah, we'll take it, or no, thank you, we won't. But they didn't say either of those things. They went too far. They said, literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me, as they kicked me out of the office. What do we need you for? And here we are, all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. And I'm not up here trying to tell you guys that I believe that Comedy Central gave me a raw deal just because I'm black. I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too bitches was trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it fucks. And I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, fuck them, Dave. Why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation? Because the master over there might be nicer. My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I do, I can't call it Chappelle Show because my name and likeness is being used by them in perpetuity throughout the universe. It's in the contract. You're not supposed to do this in my business. I'm up here doing something that nobody else in this business has the balls to do. I'm telling you something that you need to know. I'm trying to explain to you what you're seeing. You don't understand what you're seeing. I am publicly flogging a network. And I know that this network niggas, they watching me and they saying, why are you doing this so publicly? Doesn't feel good to be flogged publicly. Oh, believe me, I know. I know exactly how that feels. When I quit my show, they said I was crazy. What was crazy about it? I just didn't want to do it anymore. They said I smoked crack. That's impossible. I was a devout Muslim. I didn't smoke or drink. But I do now, bitch, because you ruined my fucking life.
A lot of people don't look at it like that, though. They don't look at nobody eating and stuff like that, man. That's why it's bigger than this, man. It's bigger than the stuff that we covering. It's bigger than the stuff that, you know what I mean? We just opening up your eyes a little bit. You feel me? This ain't even a whole lot. You know, we just giving you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of game.
I did the same thing real quick and closing for real, like as Dougie Dud. Man, you can't put no cap on how much I'm worth, my boy. You know what I'm saying? My soul is worth more than anything y'all got out here on this world that's valuable that you thinking price-wise. And that's one thing that I've always stuck to a code on. Like, I will never ever bend or break when it comes to that. Yes, do I work for the man? Guess you could say that because I have to eat. Do I settle for the prices that I'm being paid? No, I do not. I collect that check and I keep it pushing and pay my bills. However, that's survival. But if I'm in a situation, if I'm an aspiring actress or actor, I'm looking at my moral judgment code. That compass is what's more important than anything that you know of. Because it can make or break you. If you so easily to be pimped that way, then you might as well get yourself on that stroll, and you know which one I'm talking about, and go ahead and really get gritty and dirty if you're willing to do any and everything that a person is going to go ahead and depict to you.
And that's what people do, man. You know, it's a given. You know what I mean? Just like we talked about Kanye, of his dude giving. I think they offered him $30 million as cameraman, and he turned on him that easy for $30 million, bro.
30 mil? And that was a low ball because they knew how much the situation of Kanye, any footage of Kanye is worth. Like it could go like they're just sitting there like low balling you because they know that they're gonna make
money as soon as this the hook up air, bro. As soon as the hook up air, it's a wrap. They gonna make views, everything off of it. Bootlegs, you know what I'm saying? You can buy it, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to do, bro, but. You know, that's just the way of it is, man. That's the way of the nature, the way of the game. But I just feel like it's just a crazy topic, man, because that's how y'all got to understand that things are the way they are, man. This is something that's been since freaking Richard Pryor and JoJo Dancer. Man. You feel me? Like, you feel where I'm going with it, bro? Like,
that's what I'm saying. There's a list.
We going back to Richard Pryor, JoJo Dancer. And if y'all ain't watched JoJo Dancer, if you ain't never seen it, I'm just going to tell you, man, brace yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because the movie is raw right there. That's definitely raw.
Like, that movie was what he really went through to get into the situation, to get what he had to get, and then what he was really going through at that time. Man. So that was a shout out to you all for that, man. Like, hats off, because a lot of people done forgot about JoJo Dancer.
Bro, like, that showed you the way ahead, what you had to do to mingle with the rest of the people, get along with the industry. Some of the things that you had to go through, leaps you had to, hurdle, bro. Like, come on, man.
That's too much.
It's too much, bro. That's what I'm saying. And that's where I'm going, because it's a sick society, you know what I mean? But what did Jay-Z say? He say in this song, he don't say it's a sick society, but it is a sick society. All you ask is trust. The same way, it could be sick or secretive. Either way, man. And there's some stuff
OG
we don't
money,
know about.
all we got is just us.
Yeah.
So that's the way that you feeling. Like if you know OG money, all we got is just us.
Yep.
You basically saying, bend over.
Yep.
And let your pockets grow.
Yep. That's exactly what he said. And you got to look at the lyrics that you're listening to. Hey, it could be somebody else. It could be somebody else watching it. Y'all drop in the comments how y'all feel, man. Y'all rock with Cuz what he said, or if y'all don't, man, like I said, either way, that's what he stand on. That's what I stand on. And that's just what it is. But if you feel different, feel free to lock in at the bottom and go on and hit that rebuttal.
Shout out to What's Up. Hey, keep rocking with us. We enjoy you. We enjoy the positivity. You know, hats off to you. Peace, love, prosperity to all y'all who have, even though that there may have been some negative comments, but creative criticism is okay. It's okay. I don't doubt, you know, Ben. Shout out to you, Ben. We respect you off of what you had to say or what you thought was going on, but there's a level of setting, you know what I'm saying, the tone on how we do. And just to go ahead and feed off of what each other's, you know, energy, as well as others, if they have an opinion or a backbone to give their opinion off of the topic. So that's basically what it is. Freedom of speech, homeboy.
Yo, shout out to Ben. We'll give you your shout out too, just because you're a hater. But you know, maybe like I said, we said earlier in the episode, if the channel's not for you, bro, it's just not for you. And we're okay with that. We appreciate your feedback. Thanks for keeping it a buck. But we suggest you dive back in some of them previous videos. Definitely gave that love. Definitely to What's Up on that one. What's Up, Say One About podcast. They say that you can never cross a dude like 50.
No, you can't. And that's shouts out to you. You know.
You know. Look, Mark Edwards, he said, that love, you a real one. Appreciate you on that one, man. Nobody got back. Jessica Cox, she says clickbait, whatever. If that's how you feel, if it was clickbait, like we really dove into the topic, Jessica. You know, said what it was, put it down. You feel me?
You gotta see what it is for yourself. Like I said, get past the mess to get the message.
Yeah, she says, where's the one-on-one conversation? It's like, okay, that's what the show is about, but okay. Yeah, it says, I gotta read it, man. I wanna make sure we get it right. It says, now it's all about the money, because as a father, you have to do shit for your kids, and that's all he's willing to do for Marquise. So that
sounds like,
so he said, don't complain. He can't complain about it, you know, because that's literally what 50 was wanting to do from him from jump from anyways. No McDonald's hanging out, you know what I'm saying, going to NBA games, and he deserves all the money from him, then, you know what I mean, he right. So shout out to you, Leroy. Bruce Leroy.
Leroy, I mean, let me ask you this, because I know we've been on time, so I'm going to hurry up. I ain't going to be long-winded off of this. If you got a child and your baby mama you and your baby mama is separated, meaning that your household structure is bent where you don't have full dictatorship over your son or your child or your daughter, your child, period. It's lopsided, it's one controlled, but yet you spending thousands of dollars, not, you know, the low ball thousands. We talking about tens of thousands of dollars in child support to try to take care of her as well as your child. And then you turn around and you try to make an investment based off of how you know your son is what he digs, what he really likes, what he cares about, what thrives.
Not even that. It was her just taking it too for herself. She was putting it dirty and lying to the little nigga.
They could have started the online shoe business, and that's a boomer. Yeah, it's a boomer. Like I said, his shoes. The shoes that he was copping wasn't the $300 joints. They was them exclusive big boy joints.
They was the big boy joints. But what I heard 50 say in that interview was that he went into a store. The store was getting ready to go out of business. He bought the shoes from the store. All the shoes that he had a warehouse or something for Marquise there to set him all up. Pitched the idea to him, little dog didn't want it. You know what I'm saying? Simple as that. So
he grabbed it, but he messed off the bread.
He messed off the bread, you know what I'm saying?
You didn't handle the business like it needed to be handled. So I get what you're saying, bro, but like I said, go back and do your research off of it.
But yeah, man, that's all in a nutshell for this one, man. Make sure y'all catch us on that next one, man. Cause it's always a pleasure locking in doing this, man. Running up topics with you, running up topics with the world. And y'all just give me y'all thoughts and opinions, cuz where they can follow us at.
1_Buck_podcast, spelled just like that on that IG when we decide to go ahead and get that back in motion when it's normal. But however, things are a little bit different right now, but still go ahead and lock into that so you can see some of the shorts that we put on there. You know what I'm saying? Give you the previews of what's getting ready to be laid out on the table for you.
YouTube, catch us at 1Buck Podcast. In between the 1 and a buck will be $sign, and then in that S, replacing that S, will be $sign as well. Tune in, man. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, bang that notification bell, man. Yeah, with your ugly ass, and you gonna do that, and we'll do this, man. Look, we gonna pick up what we put down on this one, on the next one, as always. And this is 1Buck Podcast.
Well, we keep it a buck, and
we hope y'all keep it a buck too. Peace.